Hi, so today I want to talk about critical thinking and intellectual honesty and how to just build a better picture of the world, a more accurate picture of the world, and what are some common mistakes and pitfalls that people make, and also some tips on how to understand the world better. So, this is one of my obsessions that I can say, like from early childhood, I have always been obsessed with understanding the world, how things work. Like for me, that has always been like the first thing, like where we are, what's around us. How does all this work? How does the world work? How do we work in a biological way? How do we work on a psychological way? How does biology work on a deeper level? What do the molecules do? What do the atoms do? Where do the atoms come from? From stars from billions of years ago that exploded. How did those stars happen? How it happened that the universe just expanded in a big bang? And like those are some of the questions that for me always have been like the most important questions. Sometime when I was a teenager, I guess I had a phase when I had this feeling that I want to be right, with what I say. And then I found out quite quickly that the best way to be right about stuff is to actually be right about stuff. And the best way to be right about stuff is to be intellectually honest and to gather knowledge and to know how to incorporate and know how to filter it and know how to seek out knowledge. So one thing, of course, would be critical thinking, and that is questioning everything. Depending, of course, where you reside in this space of wanting to explore the universe and the world and yourself, and how honest you are willing to be. My recommendation is be as honest as you humanly can. Of course, there are limits to everything, and we as human beings, we always have some delusions. It's impossible to be a human being without any delusions. If I was a human being here right now, without any delusions at all, then I would kill myself. I'm pretty sure. We need to have some delusions that life has some meaning, and that's a deep philosophical debate of the meaning in life and how one can justify their existence and what point there really is. Ultimately, what I have learned is just that we are here, the world is absurd and it makes no sense. But, while we're here, we also have on the other side a wonderful opportunity to explore this space and this world and to make the most of it, because we are conscious beings and there are a lot of good things that we can feel and understand. And for me, understanding the world better is something that makes me feel better and makes me feel good. Like when something clicks into place and I understand how something works better, that's a really satisfying, great feeling of this puzzle, like something making more sense, and then some other pieces click into place. I love that, so many topics that I have been obsessed about, from natural sciences to everything else. And when I learn about one thing, I love when that helps me make sense of a seemingly completely unrelated topic, to help me make sense of that. I love those kind of correlations. And of course, in this universe, everything is connected. So nothing is in isolation. Everything is connected. And that connectedness is one wonderful thing that one learns the further you go in exploring this kind of thing. So one thing would be to be honest with yourself and to question the things that you think are true or the things that you believe. What are your reasons for believing in them? Do you believe in them because you have been presented enough evidence and you are convinced by research and testimonies and your own eyes or whatever, or is it something that you want to believe? It's perfectly fine if you want to believe in something. Like, I'm not taking that away ever from anyone, but I'm talking about here, if we want to be thinking clearly and objectively about the world, then this is something that we have to do. We have to question why we believe the things we do. And for me, the start of this journey is somewhat difficult. I grew up in a religious family, so there was a difficult time period of having to sort of let go of the belief in God. That was complicated because that was something that I wanted to believe. I had my own totally different version of God that was way more sophisticated than what my parents or anyone else presented to me, but still I believed in something like that. So it was difficult to let it go, but it's absolutely possible. It's one of those things that after enough time, it just makes sense for you to let go, and then you have no more reason to hold on to it. And you just, at one point, you just notice, oh, I'm still holding on to it. There's no reason to hold on, and you let go. As a quick side note, the same thing about worries. We human beings, we are worrying machines, and evolutionarily that makes perfect sense, because the ones who worry the most, those are the ones that typically survive the best. Because if you worry about everything, then you're prepared about many more things than people who don't worry about stuff. So evolution, nature does not care at all if you feel happy or good. It just cares that you survive and make babies. But that's a different topic. So one thing would be questioning your own beliefs, and that would be clear thinking. So you're not just believing in something just because you want to believe in it, and that, adopting that way of thinking instantly frees you from a lot of confusing baggage that makes no sense as just being a human being. Another thing would be, if I'm interested in some topic, then I look for experts in that topic, people that I know that are for sure seem smarter than me in that topic, and I obsessively read and look at their lectures and stuff that they have, and I learn from them. And for me, I learn well from video, because you get the body language and the energy and the feeling, and especially, of course, if someone is enthusiastic about what they're teaching, you learn so much better. I could never learn from someone who's just, like very plainly just, so E equals MC squared because that dude said so. Like, that is so boring. I need someone to be in the moment explaining it, and then I'm with you, then I'm with it, and that's how I learn. So one thing is a kind of a emotional skill to sort of recognize whenever you see some expert talking about something and it piques your interest, and then to grab hold of that interest and to do more research and to find more materials from that person, whoever it is. I'm thinking of making a list of like all the experts that I've learned from. It's a long list of many brilliant people in their own different fields. Another interesting point would be that never learn or take for granted just one source for some kind of scientific knowledge. Like when I look at some lecture about astrophysics and I learn something new, that gets into my brain, but it's not like cemented until I hear those same kind of principles talked about like 2, 3, 4 more times, and then I'm like confirmed from many different places that indeed these things are like agreed upon and make sense. So never just listen to one person that tells you that they have figured out some secret quantum physics equation that will solve the theory of everything, and they came up with it meditating in a cave somewhere. So much nonsense like that. Also, the people can lie. And that also an important thing to note is that intelligent people can justify almost any position. And this is also one healthy attitude to take, that if, especially in like humanities, especially in philosophy, especially in psychology, always look at some idea from all different possible sides. Never just jump to like one conclusion, like this is certainly true. Like look at it and keep your mind open to it from different angles, because nothing is black or white, and definitely with human beings and nature and stuff, there is no black or white. It's a big gray area. So cognitive dissonance is something we have to keep used to. We have to keep in mind conflicting opinions, and we can't just settle on one. So do the devil's advocate thing or whatever, just try to, in your head, take different positions, that you have some kind of argument, and then you argue for it, and then you argue against it, and then you argue with yourself. And that's a really good method of sort of developing your own critical thinking skills and sort of talking and speech and figuring stuff out in general. So intelligent people can justify anything. And that's why emotional intelligence is also important, getting deeper into this topic, so you can recognize when someone is just not quite right. Again, it's for me, it's sad when I see like some really brilliant scientists talking about something, but I can like sense from the way they speak that they're lacking like a big chunk of knowledge from a different field, that if they had that knowledge, then their view and opinion and their way of talking about this thing would be quite different than how they're doing it now. So it makes me sad that, like, if they only had this, extra knowledge, they would be able to think way better about it. So that's why, I could never just focus on one thing. So that's also my blessing and a curse, that I'm obsessed with, like, everything. I could never just choose one thing. And I think that's really beneficial, and I've managed, just by learning how to filter knowledge and how to gain knowledge and how to recognize really smart people and how to learn from them, to just pick and choose really carefully brilliant sources of knowledge and put them together, integrate them, and that way having quite decent knowledge of many different fields and how they all interconnect with one another. So that is, I think, marvelous. And wonderful, and it's fascinating. Like, so I just say this to anyone who is somewhat like me, who is obsessed with learning. Maybe it helps you somewhat. If it may be something you missed in your journeys. There's so much more to talk about, of course, but these are just some of the main things of just being intellectually honest, being open-minded, but not so open-minded that your brains fall out. Pay attention, be in the present moment, be emotionally intelligent, be honest with yourself, and just be loyal to the truth. Just want the truth in your head. Don't think that, like, I want this to be true or I want that to be true. Just care about the truth. That's the easiest way, and you won't get disappointed. Like, whatever it is, you will get to the truth, and then you feel good that the world makes more sense because you know the truth. Not that I don't like the way this truth is, I'll come back to my belief or whatever. For me, at least, what matters is what is true. So it doesn't matter what the truth is. I just want the truth, the way it is. Because, like, I don't care about anything else. Like, I'm past, like, some comforting delusions or whatever. Like, they don't help me anymore. I'm too far in the deep end. Like, what's left for me now is just the truth. Only that is satisfying, further truth. And that in itself, if you can verify and make sure and think about it, that you have truth, then that should be a wonderful feeling of understanding more about the world. And of course, I am amazed at the capability of the human mind to understand and figure out so many things. And at my good times and my good moments, I do feel blessed that we are able to think and to understand the world so deeply as we do. So that's quite amazing. So these are just some of the thoughts about thinking and learning. I hope there was something interesting here for you. If you have any thoughts, please share them in the comments. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and take care.